I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?
Peace, family.
Hey, peace, everyone.
Wow, it's great to be up in the house again. Happy talks. And we have Mr. Reza Islam. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Before we get to him, we got some stuff to talk about, family. We can give you guys, wow, you guys are already up in the house. Okay, that's what's up. All right, I haven't seen George in a long time. Okay. All right, peace, family. So, this, and this is like a, we want to make sure we let you guys, just kind of understand our thought process about things. So, we are a community-based organization, which means we love the community. We like being in the community. And so there's a lot of activities that go on throughout the world. And we need for you guys to let us know when things are happening. Okay, now that doesn't mean we can come to every single thing because there's only like 2 of us. But like if things that we can get to, we would love to just know about and really let other people know about your event and stuff like that. So this past weekend, I was able to go home to Detroit and check out Ashra Kwesi and his wife. They were at Al-Kaboo Land Center, which was nice. But the cool thing about it, as soon as I walked in, I was like, wow, this felt a lot like One Africa, because a lot of the vendors that were at the One Africa conference in April, they were there. I met, so it's like a bunch of people, but it was nice. Dr. Ken Harris, who was going to be moderating our Black Excellence, Day of Black Excellence in February, he came out and, we checked out Baba Ashra. And also, Nicole was in the house. She's one of our HAPI viewers. Toby, G-Mac. So these are like all people that we've been hanging out with, which was really nice to just be able to, check out the community and stay connected. And Nubian was there, Marinke. And so she was, she was lecturing. And so it was a really nice event in Detroit. And, so the thing about this, the reason why we're telling you this, family, is that a lot of people didn't really know about the event. Okay. And we need to, be attending other people's events. We need to be out there. We need to be just working in collaboration. So when you guys have events, please make sure you just let us know. I don't know. HAPI might be up in the house.
Yeah. And it's important, that we get back to kind of maybe the old school way of doing things. The technology is great. It helps out. It's very convenient. But the spaces in which we could actually meet and congregate with one another are essential, because that is really kind of going back to the beginning of who we are. Sometimes we'll get lost in this new age, new era of doing things. But, these events like the Happy Day of Black Excellence, like this event past weekend in Detroit with Ashra Kwesi, all these different things are important. I know we say it, but sometimes, I know years ago, one of the things that was said in events was, hey, greet the person next to you. If the person next to you was a stranger, it was always encouraged that it was a time that people would just stop the lecture, what they were doing, and get that person's name, get that person's information. And that's really what we have to go back to. We got to go back to basics. And we talk about this networking thing and this event coming up, which is Saturday, February 4th. We made sure that we had time built in the schedule to provide for opportunities like that, people to really get to know one another. Family has to get to know one another. And it's, you'll be surprised of just how important people are in your life. It may not seem like nothing now, but that contact could really, really be beneficial to you later on. So this networking with people of a like minds is so important to what we are and what we're doing. So yeah.
You know what, Taaqiy, it's something that Professor Small said when he came on before. He talked about those places being sacred spaces. You know, like there's sacred spaces for us.
Absolutely, facts. They have to be looked upon like that. People
Yeah.
have to see it that way. You know, you have to see it that way, because once you see it that way, you enter it very differently. You know, people come out with a different mindset. People come out with a mindset of clarity. So when you know, that is very sacred. We know it's not necessarily like a church or like a religious sanctuary, something like that, but there's definitely a meeting in the minds. Is definitely, the spirit is there. You know, the ancestors are in the building. They're there. They're in the house. So yeah, it's absolutely a sacred space.
Yeah.
So anyway, family, Saturday, February 4th, get your tickets, happyfilm.com. We have a beautiful lineup scheduled for you. Everything is about the celebration of us being Black people, us, this celebration of this Black genius, through art, expression of art. Started with the foundation of it, just speaking of Black intellectualism, Black entrepreneurship. We have extended clips of documentary films. We have music, poetry, African dance, drum. Oh man, the gamut goes on and on and on. You have this networking thing. We have the brother Riza Islam, who's our keynote speaker, Professor James Small and Fudishi, brother Kaba Kamene, sister Susan Tata, Susan Georgina Falou. Like Felicia said a little while ago, we also have brother Dr. Ken Harris, who is the moderator and the host for the event. Get your tickets now. People have been buying tickets like crazy. It's a limited space. If you are not in the New York City area, strongly encourage you to get the live stream. It's an event that if you miss, you're going to be kicking yourself in the butt like, damn, why did I miss that? So you definitely want to be there because it's going to be historical.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, family, we have we have a few. I know we keep talking about these few vending tables left. Listen, you're gonna have a captive audience. So if you are even thinking about vending, you might want to go ahead and make that happen. Get them tickets, because they're not going to be once we're done with Kwanzaa. The tickets gonna go. And then you're gonna be tight. This is a nice Kwanzaa gift. You can go with your girlfriends. You can, bring your family. This is an all-day family event. We have financial tutorials. Like, we're gonna have a lot of stuff going on. But the one thing we're gonna have is, is Black love. I think somebody put that up in the chat. They were talking about Black love, and 100%. So it's really important that you guys really show up. It's gonna be nice.
Yes. Black love. Yes. Us. Yes. It's going to be extraordinary. It's going to be definitely epic. Family, please, as always, like, comment, and share. We got a few people in the building right now. We want to make sure we get this video out. About to have a very powerful discussion in the next few minutes. We'll get started with that. But we also have some very additional exciting news that we want to talk about. You want to go ahead and tell them, Fee, what we got happening soon?
We're going back to Egypt. We're going to Egypt. Yes, we're going back. We were there twice this year, which was great. But we got our dates, May 25th to June 3rd. We will be in Egypt. So if you guys want to travel with us, listen, you got time. Okay, and we're doing 2 trips. So you can either do Egypt and the Nile cruise, or you can do Egypt and Dubai. Now, this is the thing. If you put down your deposit like today or like this month, you have a few months to get this together. So you don't have to come up with all the money, because everyone's like, that's a lot of money to come up right now. And none of, there's some of us who can do that, but if you can't, that's okay. You can just pay a little bit here. And as long as it's paid 30 days before we roll out, which is in April 25th, you are golden. This is it's an opportunity, and we have a lot of people that's in the chat that has actually traveled with us. It's an opportunity to, not only collaborate and see and just be with other people, but it's really about figuring out who you are. And it's so nice just to be in a space where you just look around and it's your creation. So, it's definitely, if you can make it happen, I say make it happen.
Yes. Yeah. May 25th to June 3rd. Like Felicia was saying, there are 2 options. We have they're both 10-day trips. You have Egypt with the Deluxe Nile cruise, and you have Egypt and Dubai. For those who are interested, iCareTours.com. We'll put it up in a minute. Go register for your trip. Also, going back again to the Happy Day of Black Excellence, For those people who are coming, those people who are part of the HAPI Movement, inside the newsletter, there's a special discounted code in there for you. It's only available in the newsletter. So if you have your newsletter, you can go ahead and click the link in there, and that'll give you the opportunity to take advantage of the discount code for the event. Trip is going to be epic. They always are. They are transformative, uplifting, eye-opening, and we're looking forward to doing it again next spring.
Yeah. And it's nice because, everyone's coming from all different walks of life and stuff. But I swear, by the time you get off the plane and, you get to the airport and you get your luggage, everyone's like family. And it's really nice how it just all comes together. It's super nice. If you can make it happen. I brought my kids this year. It was really great. They're still talking about it. It's a nice trip. It's definitely a nice trip. And it shouldn't really be the first, we want to keep going. So even if you've gone, before, it's a pilgrimage. This is something culturally that, we used to do that we need to really get back into doing.
Yes. Yeah.
So
if anyone has any questions and know how to reach us about those things, please stay tuned. We're going to have more information about this very soon. We're going to be, talking it up. But now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with the interview with Reza tonight. This powerful discussion, looking forward to it, and get a chance to kind of connect with this brother and talk about this Black excellence, who is original man, the making of God. So I'm looking forward to this. All right.
So family, I will see you guys later. I will be backstage, and here is Reza Islam. Yay.
Peace, family. How you doing?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, my brother.
How you doing?
Oh man, I'm well. It's always good to see my brother and my sisters. Good to see all the beautiful work that you continue to do from the East Coast on the other side, and all across the diaspora. So it's always good to see.
Okay. How's things on the West Coast? How's things going on in California?
Oh man, things are strong, brother. There are victories and there are constant fights. We've had some victories as it pertains to certain laws and things, and people are working together. Some abnormal weather out here during this winter, but we're making it happen.
You're making it happen. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, brother, we, in continuing with the theme of Black excellence, we have several topics. This is maybe the 4th or 5th show. Started with God having a human experience, then the African wisdom personified, things like that. And when I think of Black excellence, I know the Queen Mother Shahrazad Ali spoke very highly of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the sense of him just creating great people. Just like, you look at the old adage of you would judge a tree by the fruit it bears. You have to look at people like, Malcolm X, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Muhammad Ali, and several others. You look at these people and you look at the root from which they come, you be like, wow, what's going on here? What's happening over there for this individual to produce these types of great people? You know what I'm saying? And these are people who are pillars in our community, So I will always look to the nation as a model for success when it comes to developing of gods or making of gods. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or just understanding who we are. And when I first think of the point of who we are, the first thing that comes to mind is who is the original man. And I know that was like, the first lesson in student enrollment, who is the original man. Like that's the first thing that is taught, So for the audience that don't know, I just want to give them some basic foundational information when it comes to the nation as an enrollee. Some of the things that you may go through, like what this presented. First things first, let's start with this. What is a student enrollment?
Well, the student enrollment goes over the actual facts, starting off with the actual facts and student enrollment. It goes over a series of questions that help to pinpoint, point out, analyze, clarify, fact check, and orient our people, bringing them and us back to the knowledge of ourselves. So the first question being, who is the original man? Because we were made to believe that we were other than the original man. and that the original man, like that of Jesus, when they painted him as a white man, they painted Moses as a white man, the angels as a white man, etc., etc. And they convinced us that we were not the original man and that they were, but that we came from a monkey or ape type of mutated circumstance. And because of that, the first thing God will do is reorient you with who you truly are. So the first question had to be, who is the original man? And the answer is, the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Now, just in that answer and question alone, that's a whole lecture in itself. All right, that is a full book within itself. When you are saying, first of all, Asiatic, when you hear that term, you're thinking, wait, what do you mean Asiatic? You're talking about the people who are slanted eyed, who are a little lighter skin, maybe yellow skin over in that area we know as Asia, China, etc. No, Asiatic, because the planet was once called Asia. And so the original people across the planet was once known as Asia, meaning body of land. And it goes into further in-depth definitions as well. And so when you look at that, then you look at that as the original people, which are darker complected people of the planet, heavily melanated people. That is who we are. And then, of course, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, because cream always rises to the top, no matter what you do to try to keep it down. God of the universe, God meaning one who possesses force and power, not the originator, but the one that possesses force and power. Be and it is, we can shape matter into whatever we choose. We can create airplanes, as we have done. We can make and manufacture and evolve high levels of technology, which we have done. At a certain point, before we fail and were hit in the head figuratively and lost the knowledge of who we were able to move things with our minds in a telepathic type of circumstance. So all of these things are a part of who the original man is. And also, when we say who is the original man, that includes the original woman as well, because there not being an original woman attached, because we quite literally are connected in every single way, shape, and form. So again, that right there, brother, is a very in-depth study that we have all had to undertake, and we are still undertaking it. None of us have mastered this. We're still studying. So the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. And that is in our original state that we are still working very hard to get back to.
Okay. You spoke about the creative genius in there. You spoke about creating, like making planes, bringing things into existence. And, you know, when we think of this Black excellence, that's the one of the thing that comes to mind is this manifestation of God, the manifestation of God in the human existence, or God having, human beings of God having a human experience. And when we think about that, we think about just our connectedness to this expansive universe, or as connectedness to the one, to the all. And as the nation, as a member of the FOI, the Nation of Islam, how is that process in terms of connecting one back to the source? How does that process take place?
Beautiful question. First thing is, not only do we study Islam as taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, it is from the understanding of the original source and connection. So, for example, when you hear Islam, some people will think of Arabs in the Middle East, which we make sure we give them respect, because they made sure to keep sacred what it is that they have, meaning the Holy Quran and how it is one of the only books that has been able to be as solidified as possible with, I would say, the least amount of tampering, if there is any tampering. So we appreciate them for that. And also, when it comes to us being connected to the one, prayer is a part of that. But the prayer that we practice, which of course is prostrating 5 times a day, is what we are taught to do. Some teachings, a part of it will be 7 times, depending on what it is. And there are other prayers as well. But in that, every single movement, from the raising of the hands to the covering of the right over the left, to the bending over, to the holding of your knee, to the kneeling down, to the face or forehead to the ground. All of this is mathematical. So this is another side of it when it comes to the scientific understanding of what the origins or the Black origins of Islam is, or the origins of us maintaining our connection energetically, celestially, biochemically to the actual energy of the universe itself in the oneness of God. So even when we are practicing that, when some people may think, oh, you're following this or that, it's like, no, we're following what we are supposed to follow as the original people in every way, shape, or form. So quite literally, when we're standing with our feet at 90-degree angles, with our right hand over our left, meaning righteousness over wickedness, and the 90-degree angles, which are mathematically precise angles when it comes to looking at the pyramids, when it comes to looking at certain directions of the different various points of stars and how degrees work. All of this is inside of the way that we study in connecting and reconnecting to our higher selves. Then, of course, if you look at it on the base level, prayer, doing our best to pray to Almighty God Allah, the Creator, the one true and living God, where we hold our hands open. We go into certain prayers that are in the prayer book, that are in the Holy Quran, that are recognized by the whole world of Islam. And then, of course, there are other prayers that we have been given as far as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, refuge prayer, and prayers where we are taught to do at least 7 times a day, where we go into seeking refuge from anxiety and grief, from the lack of strength and laziness, from cowardice and niggardliness, from the overpowerment of debt and the oppressions of men. Like, there are certain prescribed prayers that were made for us here in America, because we as Black people have a different experience over here than anyone else. And so there are certain things that we have to do that will bring us back into who we are by nature. So not only do we do prayer, because I know there's a lot, but I had to, since you asked a question is breaking down the process of these things, it's that. Then, of course, the fasting part of it, which is not just the physical fasting. We not only fast during the month of Ramadan, but we also fast 3 days is what we're taught to do out of every month. This is not just for the spiritual cleansing, but it's also for the physical cleansing. It is also to be united in one brotherhood and sisterhood with our nation so that we can spiritually be connected at the end of each month for 3 days, which is a trial. That also represents a trial, because if you can make it through 3 days of not eating, it's a very, very powerful exercise of discipline. If you can deny your body the very natural thing that it requires to live, which is food and water, then you can easily stop drinking. You can easily stop smoking. You can easily stop being addicted to drugs and different things that you're not supposed to be addicted to. And then on the other side, the other level of fasting is from technology, social media, from cursing, from any of these different things that can be a hindrance to our progress. We do our best to remove ourselves slowly but surely away from them for certain periods of time to evolve ourselves again back into our original selves. So these are some of the processes, when it comes to not only reconnecting, but maintaining our connection to the one true living God, which we call Allah, that many people may have different names for.
Well, brother, one of the things that, came to mind as you were speaking was in that process, also the reconnecting back with the cultural self. One of the things that the Nation of Islam is pretty well known for is its stance for Black nationalism, and how does the stance or the cultural aspects of Black nationalism comes into developing someone who's a fruit of the Islam or NGT? Like, how does that come in? Just teaching you yourself, because the knowledge of self is essential to becoming God. God becomes God when God becomes aware of itself. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. You wake up and you know who you are once you have the knowledge of who you are. So when we think of the making of gods, let's talk about the knowledge of self and how that's so instrumental into that. Before you get started, again, family, please like, comment, and share. Those people who are new to the channel, especially those on YouTube, we have a 30K push. If you are just coming in for the night, you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe and notification button. We're about a few hundred away from that target, so please, family, help us out with that. Get on board, be a part of the HAPI movement. Also, you can show your love to the Cash App, Super Chats, and stars on Facebook. We're getting back to the discussion, my brother. Knowledge itself. Yes, yes.
And I'll tell you this: see, when some of our people in this generation hear knowledge itself, because it's been demonized to learn the knowledge of self, same way they used to do, back then when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching, and Brother Malcolm X was teaching, and the Honorable Ms. Farrakhan in his early years was teaching, and Khalid Muhammad and Wadathuddin, all of them from the very beginning, Muhammad Ali, you name it, they would make it sound corny to gain knowledge of self, right? The mainstream media would try to demonize us. They would try to make it seem as though, okay, these black folks are trying to teach you something that's devilish or of the devil, etc. So they wanted us to just be good Christians and we all good, because they knew that there was a threat of a black man knowing exactly who he is by nature, as well as the black woman and all of the original members of the human family. So when it comes to the knowledge of self, and a part of your question dealing with black nationalism, no group of people who know who they are can be enslaved. No group of people who know who they are and who act on who they are can be misled. No group of people who know who they are and who act on who they are can be attacked without defending themselves. No group of people who know who they are and who act on who they are can be convinced to mistreat one another and will not mistreat one another. No group of people who know who they are and who act on who they are will abuse their women, abuse their children, steal from one another, rob one another. No group of people who know who they are and who act on who they are will do anything that goes towards the degradation or the destruction of their own people, because we have in our mind the total inner, under, and overstanding that we are one together. We know that. Now we guess it, not, oh, I don't know about that. No, we know that other groups of people make it a point to learn the knowledge of self. And they make it a nationalistic type of approach, meaning this is for our people first. It's us first, then it's everybody else. And I'm not mad at them. The Jewish community, you already knew I was going to mention them. They do this very well. The Indian community, they do it very well also. You have people, the Chinese community for sure does this very well. They are Chinese first. They are Jewish first. They are Indian first. And you cannot convince them to be somebody else or something else before they are who they are.
They don't apologize for it either.
Oh, come on. And they will never apologize for it. And I wouldn't even want them to apologize for it. We need to stop that damn apologizing. And I hope we get into that later, brother. Please give me a question regarding something about that topic. But because this mentality that we're watching everybody else utilize the same mentality that we used to utilize until we were destroyed. We used to be the same way. But now we're watching everyone else do the very thing that we were doing proudly. We did it proudly. And then we became made to be negative or look negative or bad or wrong for saying, I love the black woman, for saying I'm proud to be a black man, for saying, nah, I'm good with doing what needs to be done for my people first. And then I'm gonna help you out. But I can't help you with my leg broken. I can't help you if my woman is bashed up and beaten up. You want me to help your woman. I cannot take care of your children when I have my own children to look after first. I cannot go and put the fire out of your house when my whole damn block is ablaze. I have to take care of home first. So when it comes to learning about the knowledge of self, what it will activate, which is why the enemy never wanted us to have it, is a self-preservation active mode. A self-preservation mode first. And they couldn't have that. Why? Because they were attacking us. So they knew if we allowed them to step back into the knowledge of who they are, which some of the presidents said this, they will no longer be able to be under our control, and they will fight back. A lot of them knew this, which is why they made it illegal for us to read. I don't think a lot of us truly, thoroughly looked at that. Why is it that you wouldn't allow us to read books? I don't get it. Why couldn't we read books? I don't get it. Why couldn't we read books? What was so dangerous? If you know, well, you'll answer the question if you look at the books I'm holding up. You'll realize why it was so dangerous.
Yes, sir.
No, so yes, brother. That part of our training and how we are taught is critical, because that is the foundation of everyone's training who is intelligent and who sincerely loves their people. It has to be done. Knowledge of self is an absolute requirement.
Yeah, knowledge of self is definitely, one of the things. And you said something earlier about, the first law, about the first law of nature, which is self-preservation, and that being connected to, again, the knowledge of self. And you feel this, it becomes more innate when you have a certain, I guess Malcolm, going back to Malcolm X, one of the things that he said, one of the many things he said was, they taught us to hate Black, and as a result of taught us to hate Black, we have these random acts of violence against each other that we don't really know why we're doing it. But when you really think that, the devil is Black and all these different things, all these different notions in your head, and Black is ugly, you'll respond and react to it in a very negative way. And as such, we have this hatred for each other, this deep-rooted hatred, which we have to get out of. In the way, the pathway out of is definitely through knowledge of self. So in a nation, you have two very distinct methodologies in terms of teaching. You have the one for the sisters, the MGT, you have the FOI. Why is that?
Well, one, a man cannot teach a woman to be a woman, and a woman cannot teach a man to be a man. Although we do our best to, because a lot of situations the sisters have no choice because there's not a man there, or vice versa, the brother has no choice because there's not a woman there. So he has children, he has to raise them, whether it's a daughter or son, he has to do his best. And vice versa, same thing with her. She has to raise her son or daughter to the best of her ability. Looking at why that is, why they don't have their mate with them, varies depending on the relationship. So we're not going to blame the sisters or the brothers. It just is what it is. But the sisters were removed from the knowledge of themselves just as the men were. So we had to be taught in a way where, one, we're not going to be distracted by being in the same room when we're teaching each other, because here's one major thing that a lot of people don't consider at times. Psychologically, when you have men in the same room as women, but the topic is about the nature of one of them, too many considerations and thoughts will be running around in their head when the opposite is sitting there, when I'm sitting here being taught about what I'm supposed to be doing by nature. So I'm going to be a little apprehensible, a little against stepping into that, because you sitting right here, which is why it had to be separated. Let the sisters be taught by the sisters. Let the brothers be taught by the brothers. Why? Because there won't be no damn excuses. There's going to be men teaching men. Ain't nobody going to be holding your hand over here. This is what you must do by nature as a man, and vice versa with the sisters. Sisters, this is what the sisters will teach. This is how you take care of yourself, how you take care of your husband, how you rear and raise children, how you conduct yourself and handle yourself at home and abroad, how to cook, how to sew, even self-defense, hygiene, all of these things. We have to be retaught. The sisters are taught very specific things. The brothers are taught very specific things. And in the Nation of Islam, we're not allowed to go in the room. I want y'all to understand how serious this is. We were destroyed psychologically when it came to education. So we have to be repaired psychologically when it comes to education. That's right, our brother King Simon, 75% of the work is done with the woman, which goes into the water, and 3/4 of the planet, 75% representing the woman. That's a whole other part of this as well. But the women have to be taught in a way where they are comfortable to be listened to and listen to themselves and get back into their nature. And same thing with the brothers. We have to be sharpened like steel by other men of that type of stature, discipline, etc. So that's why there's a separation there. And then when we come back, then we can face each other and reason with each other and operate differently, because now we're operating from a more natural understanding and perspective. Now I have more of this discipline. Now I have more of this knowledge of self. Now I know exactly how to treat you. I wasn't taught this by my uncle, by my father, by my older brothers. I didn't know this. Now I do know this. So now I know how to interact with you. I know how to open your door. I know how to call you this. I know what not to do over here, how to handle myself. Same thing with sisters, how to conduct themselves, how to dress in certain circumstances, how to talk, how to operate around certain people, how not to allow any old man, any dude to just look at you, touch your hand, or there's certain ways and codes of conduct that will help us to build ourselves. And that way, as we build the respect for ourselves, everybody else will build more respect for us, because they will have no choice. So we had to be retaught. Some people don't want to learn, brother. Some people just don't, but at this point, to be honest with you, I can just tell you, when it comes to the two separations, FOI meaning fruit of Islam, the name given to the military training of the men that belong to Islam in North America, meaning those of us who are taught under the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, Islam as taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Then the sisters are called MGT, Muslim Girls in Training, or General Civilization Class, which is GCC. And then they are taught the same teaching, but when it comes to the specific training of the women, they are taught by the sister captains, by the sister lieutenants, by the sister first officers, etc. And we both are in a military form as well. So we have captains, lieutenants, first officers, second officers, etc. So it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's cold. It's cold. It is cold, and I'm
you know, and I just want to just let the family understand. You know, we have to see the nation. You may philosophically may not agree with the teachings. The nation has been a pillar in our community for almost 100 years.
Fact.
It's coming up on 100 years, and we have to look at this organization and the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as something. You know, we just can't dismiss it. These brothers and sisters have been there putting in work in the community, putting in real work in the community for, like I said, almost 100 years. So you got to salute them, and you got to at least take the time out to study their formula of success. You know, we often look to others as trying to figure out ways of why they're successful. Yet still, we have this institution in our community that's really putting in work and that's producing great minds year after year after year. And this brother is one. He's a product of that. So again, salute the nation. So, you know, we're going to move on in the discussion. We're going to talk a little bit about some current things that's going on. And this is so much happening now. This is actually a good time to talk. So you spoke about demonizing knowledge of self a little while ago. And one of the things that came to mind was this woke culture. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And somehow woke culture has become synonymous with consciousness. And I'm like, damn, they doing it to us, you know? And we're getting kind of caught up in this thing where now we used to be like the brother sisters conscious. Now it's like woke, and now we're looked at as like this demonized thing again. How the hell did this happen, man?
Oh, brother, you know, I'll say it this way, brother. White folks are funny. All right, I'm just saying this way. They're very funny because the term woke, and I don't know who started woke, but woke is a small part of to be awoke or awakened or aware or enlightened, which we know all the way at the top is conscious. So it's a child of consciousness, but it was taken as a term to be used by white people to be synonymous with uncivilized, ignorant, dangerous, of a terroristic nature, or to be honest with you, when they're talking about with black folks, nigger culture. I'm just saying, okay? It's all of these things that are derogatory, negative descriptions. And it's like, wait a minute. First of all, since when did y'all start using the term woke, and what does it mean to you? Because that's not what we've always known it to be. We would hear woke, and then it became commercialized as some watered down form of intelligence and consciousness. All right, that's what we know it to be. Not bad, just not the root of the thing. It's just a small little piece. Like, okay, that sounds nice. But when I heard people start saying, "Stay woke," I was like, "The hell?" I was like, "What do you?" That's when I knew. When it became commercialized, I said, "Okay, they're about to use this term." And they're going to put their little spin on it per usual, like they do. And the consciousness, just like it was back then, is being demonized now because too many people are waking up.
Yes.
So the past tense being woke, but no, they're literally waking up. People are realizing the game of politics. Every 4 years, you elect the same circus clown, the same thing every year. 4 years. The money is not being controlled the way we think it is. They don't care about the people in the way that they say they do. The food is being manipulated and controlled, genetically modified. The people who are supposed to be regulating that are being paid by the pharmaceutical companies that are genetically modifying the very food that they're trying to force you to eat. They are setting up these locations to be burned down to instill and ensue, create a famine to where we will have no choice but to eat their genetically modified foods. They're forcing you to take poison that makes no sense. That's not scientifically proven. You talk about the truth about anything, you get blackballed, you get called crazy, ignorant, conspiracy theorists. You say that a certain group of people control things that they clearly control because they use their control that they say they don't have to do the very thing that they are, do the very thing that they're saying that they're not able to do. but you can't say that. So you're called anti-Semitic, you're called crazy, blah, blah, blah. And we're watching this time and time again. Then you have certain Black folks who work on behalf of corporations, but they make us believe that they're our friends, but they do the very thing that they say they're not going to do to the benefit of that group and not our people. And we keep going backwards. When we try to make 2 steps forward, we make 10 steps backwards, or that's what it looks like. And the people are witnessing this all the time. So now we're waking up in the last, I would say 2 years, almost 3. We were slapped into reality. People are now being forced to become conscious now. They are forced to see it. You can't hide it no more. It's all on these cameras. It's on these so-called smartphones. You cannot run from it. So people are being forced to look at it. And so that's why they're trying to say woke, meaning anything that goes towards rising up in intelligence and calling out the crap that we're seeing. So they call that woke culture. What are you? No, no, either things are right or they are wrong. People are becoming aware or they are still asleep. And the problem is too many people are waking up and they don't like it. So they're trying to demonize it in a new form where white people of influence are saying woke culture, woke this, the woke left, the woke. No, it's white people doing the same evil crap they've been doing with a different label. And it's Black sellouts doing the same crap that they've been doing on behalf of evil white people under the same label. Call it out and let's end the game. Because the moment I heard that, brother, I said, okay, they're going to try it again and repackage the same nonsense to try to feed it to the people to make us believe that we still have a chance under this system when we do not.
You mentioned a minute ago, just trying to convince us to take certain things. And I know one of the things that's coming out in the so-called woke culture are the adverse effects of the jab.
Come on, brother.
Yeah, man. You gotta talk about this. You gotta talk about this.
See, and we're on YouTube, so of course, yeah, we'll be coded with it. The poison, y'all know what it is. The poison stab, the poison chick, whatever you want to call it. We were right. And this is not something that we like to say when it comes to negative things. We're not happy about saying we were right about this. Why? Because it rendered nearly 40 million people unemployed in America. They injected this into over 200 million people in America, which is a large percentage. It's only 330 million in America, so they injected into a large percentage. They injected over 5 billion human beings on the planet, the majority of human beings on the planet, according to their numbers. They have been subjected to, lied to about, coerced, convinced, forced, you name it, to take a poisonous concoction that they knew nothing about, and they knew nothing about the long-term effects, didn't tell you a damn thing about what happens down the line because they didn't know. And when I say they, I'm talking about mainly those that push it, but the ones at the very top knew exactly what it would do because it is doing the very thing that we were revealing 2 years ago. The exact things that it would do: blood clots, miscarriages, myocarditis, heart swelling, encephalopathy, brain swelling, random sudden death. Now they're calling it sudden adult death syndrome. What the hell is that?
What the hell is that?
Sudden adult death syndrome. Brother, this is why Fauci was just in court a week and a half ago. This is what y'all need to know. It was quiet. They did not put on the mainstream media, with the exception of, I believe, Fox that put it out, that Fauci and the former White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, were in court because they were collaborating with social media companies to silence, censor, and ban specific voices of people calling out the poison, calling out the adverse events and reactions, calling out the lack of data, calling out the lack of safety trials, calling out the lack of data as it pertains to long-term effects that no one was given. So you're supposed to be given that as it pertains to informed consent, and no doctors nor medical professionals were doing what they are supposed to do under the Hippocratic Oath, which is to promise and honor to do your patient no harm and give them informed consent, which is the information about all the negative effects, positive effects. And if you don't want to choose that option, you have other options to choose from: naturopathic remedies or solutions. You have the homeopathic solutions and remedies, etc. So all of this, they went to court because they were working with Twitter. Fauci's daughter currently works for Twitter. So we can understand how real this is. He was using his influence and connection to violate the First Amendment, to target people who were exposing the things that are now coming out in the mainstream media, which is the shots are going to cause more deaths than the actual virus itself, which is that the long-term effects are going to be horrific, which is that the things that people are taking are going to spike their body into becoming mutated virus producing factories. And we were saying all of this. The top scientists in the world were saying all of this. So he went to court, and I read there's roughly 466 pages in the transcript. Brother, when I tell you this man, he Heisman stepped, Floyd Mayweather shoulder rolled, his man, every question, almost every answer to every question, the first 3 words, the same 3 words he gave, which was, I don't recall, to almost every question. And I said, wow. So over 5 billion human beings on the planet were experimented on. And now they're coming out in the mainstream media. The Washington Post, roughly 2 weeks ago, has now said that the majority of deaths are happening in those who took the poison, not those who did not. And this is not a reality that we should be bragging about, y'all. We shouldn't be bragging about it. Even though I know some of y'all were attacked, people laughed at y'all. They called us crazy. Your own family was going at you. Your job, everybody was saying, nigga, you out your damn mind. You're going to kill your family if you don't get this. People went crazy. They went crazy. But have a little more mercy with them than they had with us, because a lot of them have made a decision that I don't know if they'll be able to come back from it. And that's the true reality, which is why we have been pushing the fact that natural immunity wins. So I'll leave it at that, brother. But yeah, there's a whole lot more.
Yeah, man. No, we got a few follow-up questions with that one. First things first is, you have a defamation suit on hand, because it sounds like,
come on, brother.
It sounds like you know.
Come on, brother. Come on now.
Where they were going at you, trying to silence you for this, and now it's being brought out that they were, colluding with social media companies to stop it. That sounds like, defamation. And so a lot of other stuff going on there. The other thing is too, are there any detoxes that you are aware people can take, for those people in the family or people maybe listening, that they can do certain things to kind of help themselves along?
Yes, and I'm glad you asked that question, because I was going to mention that there are a number of doctor groups and coalitions of medical doctors, naturopaths, and homeopaths that have collaborated to come up with detoxes, because we already knew what was going to happen from the very first dose of the first stab that people were getting. There's a group called the Frontline Critical Care Commission, or the Frontline Critical Care Doctors, FLCCC. If everyone just Googles or goes to DuckDuckGo and you type in Frontline Critical Care Physicians Detox, or CV19, y'all know the virus CV19 detox protocol. Specifically, CV19 shot detox protocol. There is a full form that goes over each thing, each dose, each naturopathic remedy, etc. And this is what will not shock a lot of you. They're all the different remedies we've been talking about. They're all the same remedies we already knew about. It's from vitamin C, liposomal vitamin C, to different kinds of vitamin D and vitamin D3 and zinc, and all this stuff that we have already been taking normally as a people. Now they have come up with the specific protocol, the dosages, the time, the mix, etc. All of that you should take if you got one of the shots, or even more than one dose of the shots. So again, these are ways to potentially help, but because they don't know the long-term effects of what is in those needles that they inject into the people, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. All right. And again, I don't want it to look like, oh, well, damn, there's no hope. But this is why we have to stop trusting Satan and expecting there to be a good outcome. This is the one thing we should do at this point, is I think we should humble ourselves. And to be honest with you, any of our people who are on here who attacked your family for not taking it, I think it will be a good thing for you to humble yourself at this point, out of love. So I would say that's one of the areas they can go get it. The Frontline Critical Care Physicians website, and you type in CV19 shot detox protocol, and it goes over, from multiple doctors and physicians who have come together collectively to agree upon this protocol, that it is so far the best one that they have been able to come up with.
You know, I heard something very interesting in the news in regards to this. And a lot of people, those who have been watching what's going on in China, the CV-19 lockdowns and so forth. And one of the things that came out was the very low vaccination numbers in China. The people in China, damn right, outright refused. First things first, the Chinese government didn't want any parts of the pharmaceuticals from other countries. They produced their own vaccine, and the Chinese people even rejected that.
Yes.
You know, and it's really interesting to kind of see what's going on. And President Xi just recently kind of reduced a lot of the restrictions they had there, and I just really found that fascinating. I would think, you know, the country like that, they may have actually been the forefront of actually taking, you know, what was prescribed to them, but it seems like there was a lot of resistance there. I just want to know if you could have any commentary on that.
Well, I'll say the first thing is Fauci, in the documents from his court proceeding that happened roughly a week and a half ago, in the emails that they subpoenaed as a result of a Freedom of Information Act request, showed that Fauci and one of his employees, he sent his employee over to China to look at what they were doing to respond to the outbreaks, the virus, and different things like that. When he looked at, okay, they're issuing mandates, lockdowns, masks, etc. They took that information. He came over here, told Fauci this is what they're doing, and Fauci ran with just what his staff member said, not with scientific data proving that it works, not with statistics proving that lockdowns and masks and all of that were successful in bringing down the spread or stopping the spread or any of this, but from the opinion of his staff member. That they took from China and they adopted that and activated that here in America. That's one very critical point that we all need to look at. This just came out. Okay, so that's one critical thing. The other thing is China is its own nation. They do things that I've noticed, human rights violations like any other nation. America has some human rights violating things that they've done here, like recently, and what they do on a consistent basis. In China, they do some things like that as well. And the problem is people have to realize that you have your own nation to deal with and work in and fight against the evils inside of its own government. So I can't even say, when it comes to China, okay, what they're doing is right or wrong to a degree. I can say that from my perspective, but that's their nation. So they have to handle what's happening in their nation. Would I like for that to come over here, like those concentration camp style lockdowns that they're doing right now with people who didn't take the shot, or they got tested and on their phone, it shines red to show that, oh, nope, they tested positive for an infection. Like I told people that they are using those apps, that they were going to use apps. Actually, 2-3 years ago, I told people that that's an app that's going to come out with Clear and I think IBM. They're doing that in China now. Would I like that to happen here? No. But the simple fact that the adopted method of the lockdowns and masks and mandates were taken from China and brought here, it only shows that, okay, if they adopted that, what is to stop them from going further? And that's what we need to look at. Look at China as an example of what you don't want to happen in certain aspects, and or what you do want to happen in others. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, and family, the brother just said it best. Those people who aren't aware, who are not really paying attention to the news right now, there's some really interesting things going on. A lot of it's changed kind of recently because there were so many riots. People started to resist because people got tired of it just being repressed in such a very, very harsh way. But there is still some media out there kind of talking about some of the things, and like the brother talking about this app, and they got like these QR codes where you got to kind of scan, and it's really, really interesting to let you know a place we, like I said, we do not want to go. So, definitely there. So, California. I know you Southern California guy. There's a lot of interesting things going on in California right now, which kind of, we got to talk about. And one of the things that comes to mind first is this reparations thing that we're hearing about. Is this real in California? Is this really going to happen? Like, what's going on there?
It's interesting. I watched the desperate moves that politicians make to regain the trust of the people whose trust they just violated so blatantly. So put it this way, Gavin Newsom is not trusted by black folk, nor Mexicans, nor not even white people really out here. He is one of the most heavily pharmaceutically sponsored and funded individuals that I've ever seen. This is number one. Number two, with him pushing what he was pushing when it came to the mandates, the lockdowns, etc., and particularly in California, which was one of the worst next to New York, when it came to that and the policies and everything. I mean, it was crazy, bro. They even introduced an idea in a transportation bill. Thankfully, it didn't go through because we lobbied to, when I say lobbied, I mean, we had people sign petitions, calling them, went up to Sacramento and all this to prevent this from getting passed. But they tried to introduce into a transportation bill for the ability to lock down grocery stores. Okay, I want y'all to hear what I'm saying so that you don't think China is so far when it comes to certain behaviors. They tried to make it to where once the lockdowns happened, that the grocery stores will be closed to anybody who did not take the poison when it came out. So just mind you, this is under Newsom. This is under Gavin Newsom. So with all these things that were done that were proven to be incorrect, he just won again to become governor. And so what should we do? Let's do some drastic things, or at least drastic good sounding things that will regain the trust of the people, because we really messed up and we lost a lot of the trust from the people, not just what the polls say and the statistics say, but blatantly we see what the hell we did and we need to regain the trust. How can we get the black voters' trust again? Let's talk about reparations. We gave a beach back to the black family who originally owned it. Their family bloodline originally owned this beach over here in California. We gave them that beach back. Let's talk about reparations. Let's see. But in that, what they're looking at is they gave trans people a particular protective bill over in Palm Springs, to where now there's a program where if you're trans, you can, depending on what the program allows with you, get a stipend every month. You'll get some money every month because you're trans. And even a part of that is they're going to help you with your transitioning expenses as well. See,
And it's a quick question. And this is all going to be paid for through taxpayers' money?
Absolutely. There's a slippery slope here. So before we clap like, oh, they're considering reparations. Hold up. Wait a minute. Just pause. This is California.
That's why I wanted to talk to you. That's why I wanted to talk to you about this. I knew it was a catch-22 here.
Oh man, please. I'm like, wait. I'm from Cali. I'm from Compton. I'm still in Cali. I will never leave. Depending. But this right here, because I still got to help my people. I don't want to just leave. But it's like, man, I'm thinking, wait a minute. So they're considering reparations over $200,000 per person. That's very low, but let's just go with that. Over $200,000 per black person in one of the largest states in the country, which produces over 40% of certain foods for the entire country, that has Hollywood, that controls the minds of the people, that has a large amount of money and everything. I'm like, reparations for black residents. Then you look at it and it says, well, it's reparations for black residents who were discriminated against in housing up to and before a certain year. So it's like, okay. So it's not just black folk. Okay. So again, right. So we thought it was this big. Now it's not that big either. Not that big. It's about right here. And as we continue to look at it now, it's like, where is it really? So I'm still analyzing it because more data is coming out to demonstrate that, it's not for our people. It's for a certain caliber of our people, then a certain demographic of time, then a certain type of classification and category as it pertains to housing discrimination between a certain time frame, which is not that long. So again, while this is coming out, don't get caught up on the good feelings of titles. Don't do that, because the devil only promises to deceive. That's why I didn't start jumping like, yay, no, let me look at what y'all talking about here and who you're giving it to and why and how much and everything. Because no, brother, as long as they are still using us as commodities today, especially in California, with this cheap slave labor that they still have going on right now with the inmates in California, brother, they're not interested in truly giving to us what they owe. So, right. So I'm thankful for even the conversation happening, because there is a strong group out here in California of some of our people who have been pushing for reparations for quite some time. So we're very thankful for them. However, let's not jump to good sounding titles. Let's really analyze what it is that they're truly pushing to do.
And that was one of my next questions. This reparations task force that I've been hearing so much about in California.
Yeah.
Are they like the real deal? Are they the truth? Are these the people that you just referred to a minute ago behind this push for it? Because obviously now, if this thing is passed on any level, it now sets a standard, and what they would maybe call case law for other states or maybe the federal government to kind of follow suit. So this is something very interesting to look at. And they're always going to put other things in the bills. This is how they work. We know they're going to do it that way. But I'm just really interested to see, and I'm glad you provided some insight on that for the family that doesn't know. It's why it's so important to stay up on these current event things that's happening, because it's like, okay, what's going on there in California? What we're hearing here. Again, family, definitely like, comment, and share. Show your love. If you don't want to do it financially, economically, you can definitely just get it out, get the word out. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Share the video. It all helps. It's all part of the great, and it brought about this great endeavor that we're embarked upon. So we got our two brothers in the news recently, and we'll start with
real quick. I want to respond to that because you brought up do I know this group of the Reparations Task Force?
Okay.
I wanted to just respond to that real quick for the people who are listening, because I know they value what I say. Same thing with yourself. So we want to I want to set on the record. I don't know them that well at all. It's not to say that I don't trust them. I just don't know them. So before I let all of you know that, yes, this is absolutely legit, they're trustworthy, I'm going to make sure I, communicate with them, work with them, really look at how they're operating, etc., because that's what we should do. We should collaborate with our people really doing this work. And I just want to make sure that, that it's not being funded or sponsored or controlled by this enemy, because that's what happens too often. And then there are times where it is legit and that it should be supported. So I just pray it is legit, that they should be supported, to the depth, but to the root of this, because I will absolutely make it known if they are that legit, that they are, and that we should get behind them and support them and rally as many of the young Black folk out here in California to get behind them, to make sure that we do it right. And another point that I just mentioned is when it comes to the reparations thing, overall, the polls have gone out. A lot of talk has happened all over Twitter. Once the censorship was lifted, not only did the N-word become the #1 most trending hate, remark.
Course.
Come on now.
They're gonna be big mad if this happens.
Oh my gosh. Once that happened, then they started catching wind of the reparations conversation. And here we go with I shouldn't have to pay now for what my ancestors did back then. I didn't own slaves. You were never enslaved. So why should I have to blah, blah, blah? Not only is that pregnantly arrogant, not only is that woefully ignorant, but it's truly disgusting overall. Mitch McConnell, who was the minority leader over the Senate, opened his mouth, I believe, last year and said, I don't believe that any of us should have to pay for things that we weren't involved in. Well, you don't say that to the Ukraine and our taxpayer dollars. Well, you don't say that to the Jewish state of Israel that you give money to every year on the year off the top. You don't say that to all of these different places, locations, people, groups, organizations, nations, countries that you send boatloads of money to. But the people who quite literally helped to build this nation, and not just helped, we were the very lifeblood that did it, aside from others who made their contributions with the Chinese here and these people here, we have not been given our just due. And so because of that, the banks that people have their money in today, most of them were established on using Black bodies as capital, using slave labor as capital, from JP Morgan Chase to Bank of America to Wells Fargo. All of those foundational areas that established their initial wealth were used based off of our people. Then aside from that, the movie and film industry, to the chattel slavery of our people, the buying and selling of our people, that went into establishing other companies that evolved into the tobacco companies and sugar cane companies. And brother, please,
let's not forget to mention that they got reparations when they lost their,
when they lost us,
right? They got reparations back. So it's not even
slave masters were given money.
Yes,
when they lost their property or their slaves. What? The ones who were sitting on the porch drinking their lemonade while we were out there working. I'm saying we because this is here's another thing. I may not have been a physical slave, but we're talking about what you did to my people. And because of that, we're talking about genetically here. We feel our people and the trauma of our people. Don't get this twisted, because all of the Jewish people born in America today were not involved in the Holocaust over there, but they get a benefit from the reparations that America gives to the Jewish state of Israel and all of the different ADL groups that are over 25 locations, the JDL groups, the Jewish defense groups, all of it, they get a benefit because of what was done to their people on another location. So ours who were victims of it here, we don't deserve to get anything. So again, it's not fair. It's hypocritical. The hypocrisy is pregnant. It's disgusting. It's ignorant as hell. It's disrespectful. And at this point, brother, to be honest with you, there should be no conversation about this. But if they want to have an open debate and dialogue, we should do that so that they can be checked properly in the right spirit, But again, they really don't want to, make up for it. But they do want us to move forward and have a good relationship as long as there is no accountability on their side.
I got to ask you this question because this conversation always comes up. Listen, we love our people, but there's some things we understand and we realize, and we know Black folks like shiny things. And so my question is, should the reparations be fight in the sense of money or something else? Because what's going to happen is the money comes Monday, 12:01, 12:59 is gone. This is going to happen.
12:30.
12 is gone. So, what should that look like? Should it be education, free housing? Like, where are we with that? What is your thoughts on this?
Very good question. First thing I'll say is, number one, financially, we were deprived financially. Educationally, we were deprived. Spiritually, we were deprived. Physically, we were deprived. When it comes to our land, we were deprived. All of these areas we should be given reparations for. So let's not get out of the financial side. The difference is, however, is that the education should be most important with how we utilize the financial. That should be critical. And it shouldn't come at the control of them talking about this is how we're going to let you use your money. No. The trusted groups among our people who are well educated, that this is their lane, that they have a good track record of managing money, utilizing it for land acquisition and helping with credit repair and helping with establishing education in businesses and schooling and education in farms, etc. Those are the groups that we have to come together to help guide with the utilizing of our own money. Now, every single individual may not want to do that. It happens. We get that. However, when it comes to that overall, that's what I will say, because financially, again, that's one of the things that are required in this world, because we don't live on a barter system. So I'm not going to give you a tomato and you'll give me a pair of shoes. Like, let's just knock it off, right? It's not going to happen like that. But finances are important. So I think we have to be heavily educated and qualify ourselves to be able to activate it to where we can do it to the highest ability, to where it brings us the greatest outcome, the highest level of freedom, to where we will not turn around an hour later after paying off our debts, our bills, buying up 10 different damn cars, and then get broke and then turn around and say, I need more reparations. No, no. We have to be wise about how we move. But is the financial side required? Absolutely. And I'm going to end it this way by saying what Dave Chappelle said. Dave Chappelle, one of his skits, announced that reparations were given to descendants of slaves here in America, and that all the debts have been paid off, and that I think he said Popeye's Chicken and KFC have merged, and 3,000 record labels were established, and he went down all the funny stuff, and then he said, actually, the recession is now over, ladies and gentlemen. The United States is no longer in debt because all of these generous Black people have poured so much money into the economy that it quite literally turned the economy right side up. Now, here's the funny part about this. That's actually not far off, because that is partially what will happen. We'll end up spending all this money because of our love of shiny things, but specifically love of shiny things from our enemy that we were made to love the car brands, particular brands, and we don't have too many Black-owned manufacturers. So Mercedes-Benz and Maybachs and Lamborghinis, whatever, all of the money will go to these companies, and then the chains and blah, blah, blah. It will pour money back into the economy, and it will spark the economy. That's just a fact. So I just wanted to point that out as a funny, like ironically funny point, but it is a point to take note of.
Damn. Dr. Leonard Jeffries, man, gave us the pyramid analysis, economics, politics, and culture. And in HAPI, our foundation, going back to the film and everything, was built on even the way we shot the film and produced it and really kind of asked some of the questions, dealt with that. And initially, it didn't really click to me. And as I got further and further into the project, it started to really make more sense. Your culture fuels your economics and your politics. In other words, how you see yourself, your deep values, which goes back to the earlier discussion we were talking about with knowledge itself. This is why it's so important for you to have that cultural imperative that tells you who you are. As now you want to spend money with those people. You understand, let's make the dollar circulate in our community more than like 30, whatever it is now, an hour before it leaves. Let's do different things for that. And definitely want to get a shout out to those people who are doing that tonight in the Cash Apps. And also the super chats there. Definitely thank you for that. People understand the importance of that. Also understand how important the politics are. And I think, Dr. Claude Anderson was really big on this as well, teaching us in Powernomics about just how important your economics and your politics are. And when you put that piece of that knowledge itself and have that as being the pinnacle of that pyramid or triangle analysis, it really, really helps us understand this thing and helps us really give us a formula for success. And I think that's the key. The formula for success, you know what I mean? And, I tell you, I thought about when I first mentioned it to you, the Dave Chappelle kit that thing came to mind because it was, it was definitely kind of funny. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
Just going back real quick for a second. We talked about, the social media bans, things like that. Is it true that Elon Musk actually reinstituted your Twitter account? Or is that just like, just a myth?
There are. What is true is that he said that starting earlier last week, they are going to start going down and reinstating the accounts that were taken down as a result of the virus and exposing the virus or even having conversations about it. They're going to reinstate those platforms. So I don't know. I'm going to check to see if it is, but whether if he does or not, it won't make me surprised if he doesn't. I really won't be surprised if he doesn't. I'm not counting on it, but it is something that he mentioned. And so far, he's making a lot of noise because, and let me just mention this to everybody so that they can understand, Elon Musk did not purchase Twitter to stand up for freedom of speech so that he could open up the floodgates to let people really just have freedom of speech. Elon Musk purchased Twitter. And let me say it this way. Maybe that was one of the reasons. All right. But one of the other primary reasons, business-wise, is because he owns a company called Neuralink. And that company's point of destination is to merge human beings with technology, artificial intelligence technology, and not just merge. I'm talking about not just having something on your arm or anything like that. I'm talking about putting a chip in the brain physically. The goal is to be able to upload, they said this specifically, your consciousness into the metaverse, into the digital world. So now we're talking about good old Sophia Stewart and The Matrix. Was it a movie, really? Because this man purchased one of the top social media platforms with some of the highest amounts of metadata on the planet. So if he wants to know about a large number of human beings at one time by pressing a button or searching up one word that will give him all the profiles of the people that talk about this thing to program it into a system, he got it. This is that, brother. This is huge, huge. I'm talking about as it pertains to control. This is huge. So I was not surprised when I saw that he purchased it. I was surprised that they let him purchase it, but he gave them an offer they couldn't refuse with that amount of money. But then when I saw, wait a minute, he has Neuralink. So this is going to be a highway for him to control human beings mentally. That's where I looked at it.
God damn it, man. I tell you, all the business people were laughing at him, saying how stupid of a financial investment it was. now with the information you just provided, that shit makes a hell of a lot more sense now.
Come on, brother.
You know, because it was said, oh, that's a stupid investment. Why would he pay so much money? Blah, blah, he's going to lose. All the reports came out saying just how dumb it was. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. Most people like that with a lot of money, they usually don't make stupid investments, but now it makes sense. If he has his company and he's trying to do something else, damn, that.
and to be honest with you, the activity on Twitter is greater, faster, and more than it was under Jack Dorsey, who was the former controller and owner of it, who was the one brought into Congress to have me removed and 11 others removed that they said on the disinformation dozen. The activity, according to Elon Musk, I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but according to him, he said the mainstream media said that Twitter is dying. He said, but our servers said, and he said he took a picture of all the servers that they had, and they're all in red, like they're at the top level of activity. There's so many people using the app, which is true. Because if you don't have censorship, they're saying Twitter's dying. What they're saying is liberal Twitter, the Twitter that we control, where we like to control who says what is dying. Yeah, that's dying. But Twitter is active because people are finally able to talk without being afraid or hindered to say what needs to be said. Brother, it's happening. So they tried to convince the people like the mainstream pharmaceutically sponsored media does and say that app is dying, which will encourage what? The not so intelligent people to go and be in another app because they heard it's dying, when it's like, no, I'm able to post right there. I'm seeing people post things, move things around. The app is moving. It's not dying, clearly. But censorship is dying. And that's what they don't like. Their control is dying. And that's what they don't like. But I didn't applaud right away because I said, no. Elon Musk, Neuralink, I know what his goal is. So he has to get a large amount of information from as many human beings as possible into one location so that when they put that into the Neuralink system, it can program their AI, artificially intelligent programmatic computers, technology, and all of that, so that when they go to the next move, which he already has, some of these damn artificially intelligent robot humanoid beings, like the movie I, Robot, you might as well call me Will Smith right now, brother. At this point with this one, they unveiled their robot, their AI robot, humanoid looking being that they intend to sell massively all over the world. Brother, it's not a joke. That's why California is switching to have all electronic vehicles or electric vehicles as well. There's a whole lot that goes into this. Yes.
It's goddamn California. Yes, back to California and San Francisco. What's up with these robot cops that they're talking about?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, there's yeah. Somebody actually put it in the chat too. That's another thing that's happening.
Brother, come on.
So all this is in line with everything that you're saying. Yeah,
you know what? Let me do it. All right. Okay. I'm not plugging it because it's my book. I'm plugging it because it's in the book, what I'm about to refer to. Okay. People really think that when I put in here dealing with artificial technology, dealing with DARPA, mind you, most black folks didn't know nothing about DARPA. I was talking about DARPA years ago. DARPA is the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. DARPA is the Department of Defense system organization that utilizes technology with robots. They have robotic snakes, robotic dogs, robotic cheetahs. Okay, they have robotic butterflies, robotic hummingbirds, robotic flies. Okay, they have these things that they've been using for a long time. And I told people a long time ago, I said it's going to get to a point where they're going to say, to protect our officers. Think about this, bro. To protect the lives of our officers. Remember, blue lives matter. What the hell is a blue life? Okay, but fine. Blue lives matter. So to protect the lives of our officers, we have to take certain precautions. They have been looking at ways to prevent officers from having to go out into an activated type of stance or an escalated stance where they have to engage physically. They've been looking at many different ways. That's what sparked the drone circumstance under Obama and all of that, to prevent soldiers from having to be lost as casualties. The moment I saw the big dog, they have something called the big dog that they use right now in the Army and the other forms of military that carries ammunition, it carries grenades, it carries other weapons for them, roughly up to 200, maybe 220 pounds of weapons that robot can carry. And it walks right alongside soldiers. As they're walking, they got all the ammo that they need right there. Okay, that's one. Number two, when I saw the security robots in New York roughly 3 years ago, for those who may not know this, I said, okay, I see where this is going. I see where it's going. So now they were looking at ways to preserve the lives of officers from terrorists or domestic terrorists. And what can we do to do that? Neutralize domestic terrorists while preventing casualties, preventing officers from losing their lives in a justified manner of self-defense, which is what? Use a robot, because we can't use drones entirely, although we did use drones domestically a few times, but that's not right because that's considered treason. So let's just find a way to use something that's more controlled like a robot. And now once they came out with that, brother, I wasn't surprised. But just know if it started in San Francisco, California, which is where they pilot most things, is in California, it's going to go from here to New York, more than likely, and then from New York, probably to Texas, you name it. We don't know. But the people have to stand against this ASAP, or else it's going to go into the eventual circumstance, which is iRobot, Terminator, you name it. Not a conspiracy theory. That is a fact.
Right. Let's go ahead and plug the book. So, it's not yours.
Yes,
Where can family get it from? Yeah, man, let's talk about it.
RizaIslam.com. RizaIslam.com. And the reason why I brought this up, okay, because again, know your enemy. Just know your enemy. Know yourself, know your enemy. All right. If you don't know yourself, of course, you will not be able to successfully move forward into a future where things are brighter, more intelligent, stronger, and happier and healthier for your people. If you don't know your enemy, you won't be able to move at all, because you'll constantly fall into the traps that if you knew them, you would have seen those traps beforehand. But you must know yourself and you must know your enemy. That's another reason why when I was on 85 South, when our brothers DC Young Fly, Carlos, Mill, and Chico Bean interviewed me on 85 South, I told them about DARPA because they were talking about guns and having weapons and blah, blah, blah. And I said, y'all think, and this is to all my brothers in every hood, from Compton to Philly to Brooklyn, wherever you went, from my brothers over in the swamps in Florida, you think that the guns that they allowed you to get, meaning the ones that they allowed to get on the street or in the stores, you think those guns can really do something in comparison to what they have? Yeah. Brother, it's and it's not a, oh man, hey, we might as well just give in. No, it's not that. It's just learn your enemy so that you can be prepared for whatever, good, bad, or indifferent. Just learn your enemy. And we have to be a little humble when it comes to that, because we're dealing with an enemy that is a master killer. It's what he does. It's just what he does. So again, before we get out here and think we know it all, please learn yourself, learn your enemy, and kill the division. Stop the division. Because at this point, if you don't get it by now, we're things are not looking so good. So let's be smart. But definitely to get the book is RizaIslam.com. And that goes over a lot of information that I wrote this in 2019. So a lot of people who have read the book, they already saw a lot of this stuff coming.
Yeah, definitely. You got to get that book, family. RizaIslam.com. We'll put it up again on the screen for everybody to see. So you mentioned something a second ago, which kind of perfectly segues into something, the next discussion. You said Blue Lives Matter. What the hell is that? So this White Lives Matter shirt. This is where a lot of it started. You know,
sir, I got you.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, Blue Lives Matters, White Lives Matters, just all this. And listen, we get it, but this brother, in terms of his desire to wear it, as I can't really think of a better word, but what is your thoughts on that?
Man.
And then we'll get into the whole discussion, and we'll move on to the, him and the brother Kanye, Kyrie, and everyone else. But I just want to kind of start there.
Absolutely. With our brother, first off, always look at the cause, always look at the source, always look at the root of what is happening with the person before we just write them off and call them crazy and insane or whatever. Really analyze what's going on with this person. My brother lost his mother. This is not an excuse. This is just analyzing so far what happened. Okay, he lost his mother. He got married. That didn't go as well as he would like. He got put on, he heavily started drinking. He got committed to a psych ward, according to his own words. And in the psych ward, they put him on psychotropic drugs. Those of us who know about this field and who have been working in this arena as it pertains to exposing the human rights violations in the field of mental health, this is where me and brother Dr. Umar have a lot in common. Before I was exposing the shots, I was exposing the pills, the psychotropic drugs, Thorazine, Wellbutrin, Adderall, Zyprexa, Brexpiprazole, Cymbalta, you name it. I was exposing those. I was exposing the fact that they are giving these drugs to pregnant women, and they're also putting electroshock onto pregnant women because of their different disorders that they have while they're pregnant. Insane, insane, insane. But one critical thing that I know of is something called the 72-hour hold. And if anybody is listening who knows what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, where they can legally commit you, take you from wherever you are, bring you to a psychiatric facility, and they can put you on psychotropic drugs. They can give you electroshock, which they call ECT, or electroconvulsive therapy, which just tries to make it sound better. But this is sending electricity through your brain. And they're saying this somehow is going to cure you. It's going to make you feel better. No, it's sending electricity through the brain because it is a technique that they adopted from some Italian men who were trying to kill pigs. These were people who sold meat, butchers. And so they put these metal beams on the side of these pigs' heads to make them more docile and weak. So they would shock them and they'll fall right over and they won't move. That way they could be slaughtered easier. That's where this breakthrough technique came from. So I just want to make sure we get what we're dealing with here. I don't know if he was under ECT, our brother Kanye, but he did say that he was put on heavy dosages of certain psychotropics. And one of them that he mentioned was lithium. And if you know anything about lithium and all the rest of these drugs, the common effects are not only weight gain, confusion, muscle memory, reduce in muscle, in physical muscle, of course, memory loss, but then you have different things as it pertains to your capillaries, numbness in the toes and fingers. You have even worse circumstances like vomiting, swelling of the eyes. You have sudden death. You have heart palpitations, shortness of breath. You have all kinds of horrific things, suicidal thoughts and homicidal thoughts and tendencies as well. These are all common effects of these psychotropic drugs, the same ones that there are veterans that are on right now prescribed to the fact that 22 roughly veterans every day commit suicide on these drugs because these drugs are helping them to think in this way. So to add that as a foundation, now when you're looking at what our brother is doing, that's a factor that has to be looked at. Then the fact that his personal trainer, Harley Pasternak, which was a Canadian special operative for the government who specializes in psyops or psychological operations, threatened to put Kanye back in the psych ward and said, we're going to drug you up so bad, I'm going to send you back to zombie land, and working with your child will never be the same again. This is a text message that he was sent. So it's like, so they really have been after the brother. They really have been attacking him. He was not lying. So when he came out and said, I'm tired of this, I'm tired, and he started to just expose everything, that's when I said, I get it, because I know what they do to our artists. I know what they do. So to answer the question with the shirt, just because our brother has all these things going on with him doesn't mean that what he does, if it's wrong, should be excused. He still got to be checked if what he did was wrong. All right, that's the point. If you did something wrong, brother, you got to be checked with love, but you still got to be checked. However, if he did something right, we should support what he did right. At the same time, we can correct our brother without throwing him away. We throw our people away too fast. When he put on that shirt that said White Lives Matter, of course he was going to get a response. Of course. The problem is, why the hell are we so emotional? My only issue was, why are we so emotional about this? White lives matter? Okay, yeah, sure, but that was never the argument. The argument was Black lives never mattered to y'all. White lives always mattered in America, but not Black lives. So we get it, but I was looking like, why is everybody getting so pissed off about this? And here's the other part. I waited to respond until I saw what was on the front of the shirt. And on the front of the shirt was, I believe, Pope John Paul II which was one of the only popes to apologize and ask for forgiveness from the indigenous people for the over 2,000 years of horror from the Catholic Church and what the Catholic Church had committed among the melanated family across the planet Earth. I said, now that was interesting. I still wouldn't have worn the shirt though, but I just had to analyze. I just had to analyze it, brother. You know what I'm saying? So would I have done it? Hell no. Was it smart? No, not to me. Whatever point he was trying to prove, whatever. He could say whatever. I didn't like it, but I didn't respond emotionally because I didn't see the purpose in responding emotionally. I was just more so concerned with how is our brother doing personally, him, because now he's being used. He was just being used by a lot of people, clearly. But you know, again, if he does something wrong, he got to be called out. But if he does something right, he should be supported.
Right. Have you had the opportunity to see H2N?
Yes, thorough.
Okay,
it was thorough. Yes, very thorough.
So you know, the brother Kyrie Irving just going through something recently. In regards to his Twitter, you know, back to Twitter again, his Twitter account, and you know, posting the link, you know, to the book or to the video, and so forth. And you know, we have a lot of different ideologies in our community. You know, we have brothers Hebrew Israelites, you know, Moors and Pan-Africanists, and you know, and just Muslims, all these different groups of people. And philosophically, we don't meet in a lot of areas, but we need to understand. We need to get a common ground, at least understand first and foremost, you know, who we are and what we need to do. We don't need no more division. So, you know, from a philosophical point, I don't, you know, agree with certain things, but I get it. But I have to stand with the brothers in terms of who and what they are. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't like a lot of the pushback that he got in particular, you know. Of course. And it was just like, you know, not for what he did, not for just posting a link, you know. And I'm still trying to, I mean, I watched something, I couldn't sit through the whole thing, but my thing was, I was really trying to understand what they felt was against them. And that's the fact maybe that these people feel they're the real, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know, the whole notion of Black people being Israelites in America and things like that. Nah, I can't, that's, I'm not going with it. But again, people should have a right. That's what they believe. You know, as long as we can meet someplace else, I'm good with it. Like, I don't care. That's where you at. I'm not trying to debate with you. My debating years is long over. Right. Many years ago. I ain't doing it now. There's no point in it. You know, I took my Shahada back in 1989 and it was debating when I was 15 years old. I'm not doing that no more. You know what I mean? So that's just old. You know what I mean? But again, you got these cats out here that like to do it. So it is what it is. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on Kyrie and his stand. Like, you know, he stood up, stood tall, and I think, you know, he needs to be celebrated for the fact that he just kind of stood on his principles.
Absolutely. Our brother Kyrie is one of the only brothers who actually has the integrity to stand on what he said and did it rightly. Like, he was right. How he did it was right. What he said was right. His energy was right. All of it was right. That's why when he got attacked, the people rose up to such a degree. Because, like, hold on. We don't watch y'all do this to too many of our people, time and time again. Sometimes they may have said something that you could be offended by. Well, so the hell what? You helped to put us in the condition that we are in. Quite literally. So if we're going to go there, let's go all the way there. But if we want to just pause for a minute, Brother Kyrie didn't do anything wrong. He didn't say anything wrong. The energy he brought wasn't wrong. And they knew it. So that's why when they received the blowback from Black folks in their own groups and organizations, in sports, ESPN, the Nets, the Celtics, different team members was calling like, yo, what are we? Yo, all the brother did was just put it up in his Instagram story. He didn't say my favorite movie or everything in here is true. He didn't say anything. He just put up the picture of the documentary in his Instagram story and didn't say anything. And they treated him like a slave, brother, in front of the whole world. And that's what infuriated everybody, rightly so, because it's like the brother is not a hateful person. The brother's, his last name, it comes from a Canadian Jewish family lineage. Let's go there. Right. So, okay, it's like, okay, They stepped all the way in it. Then they try to double down and triple down and try to get people to denounce him and stay away from him. And people's like, you know what? Y'all can go to hell.
Yeah, I can go to hell.
They started getting this from their own people. That's when it was like, wait, y'all not afraid of us no more? No, we're not. No, like, leave us the hell alone. We're tolerating y'all. Y'all ain't getting this by now? Leave us alone. Like, back off. The brother's right. So he did what was right. The energy was right. And everything he said was perfectly correct and factual. He didn't say that he knew everything in the film. He didn't say that he stood by everything in the film. He said, hey, I feel like some of the things in the film were not correct, but I didn't make it. He said, well, not only that, but why is it that Amazon is the one selling it?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not making money off of it. I didn't make it. I didn't write it.
Right.
They wrote it. They put it up there. Amazon.
And by the way, they said they ain't taking it down either.
And they said they're not taking it down. Brother, listen. Okay. Okay, Brother Taaqiy, you know, okay, let's say this.
Yeah.
Let's
and ain't nobody said nothing to them. Nobody said anything to Jeff Bezos.
Andy Jassy is the CEO of Amazon. Andy Jassy is Jewish. He said, we ain't taking it down. What does that say? Is he anti-Semitic now?
Damn.
He said, nah, it's a slippery slope if we take it down. That's what he said specifically to the ADL. He said, that's a slippery slope. What does he mean? So I told people this.
You can't make this up.
Brother, before he said that, I told everybody, I said, Amazon is not going to take money out of their own pocket. Amazon's not going to do that. Doesn't matter what you care about, what you think, how you feel. They are making so much money from what they make money from that they're not going to take it down just because you don't like it. Okay, excuse me. And mind you, again, these are Jewish people saying this. Andy Jassy, the CEO, is Jewish. He's like, hey, we're not taking it down. So this is money right here. This bank. And so the ADL's mad, and now they're working with the German government. Brother, let me say this to you. They went this far. So put it this way. We stood up for Kyrie. That's why they backed off. And to put the hammer on the nail, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, when he came out and did his public address roughly a week and a half ago, standing up for Kyrie and Kanye in their rightness, and he called out the ADL. He said, wait a minute. Don't go at my brothers Kyrie or Kanye when you know they're not qualified to tussle with you. He said, if you want to fight, we will entertain you. You come over here and you sit down with our scholars and have a dialogue and debate about anti-Semitism and Semitism and Hebrews and Israelites and Judaism and all of that. You come over here and stop going after our brothers who are just doing their best to do what is right in the capacity that they have, whatever knowledge they have. But don't run around who you know damn well you've been dodging for over 40 years. All right, let's stop play that game. And after that, that's when the ADL and the Nets and Joe Tsai, the Chinese billionaire who makes a lot of money while his own Chinese people to the tune of over 1 million are currently in concentration camps in China right now. But you got some balls to say something to Kyrie about him hurting some feelings of Jewish people when he didn't say a damn thing at all about a film that Jewish people making money from. Brother, the hypocrisy is thick. And this is why it was embarrassing to watch. Everybody watched it. So now Kyrie is able to play. Now he's playing, which I told him they're going to let him play. And it happened. But now the ADL, because they were embarrassed for being called out for the fact that you didn't give the same smoke to Amazon that you gave to Kyrie. You didn't give the same smoke to them making money off of it. You didn't give the same smoke to them keeping the movie up. Now they're going this far in their words. The CEO of the ADL, Mr. Greenblatt, Jonathan Greenblatt, who was just interviewed by Charlemagne on the Breakfast Club yesterday. Everybody needs to watch that interview. That interview was embarrassing. I'll just say it that way. It was, love our brothers. That interview was embarrassing. And it was by far one of the most controlled by the guest interviews that I've ever seen in my life. It was embarrassing. But in that interview, he said, because this is damage control now, right? He's trying to make it seem like we're going to give everybody smoke. No, you're racist. The ADL has always spied on black leaders. It helped to raid the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1942 and arrest him and 80 brothers It has helped to track Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, etc. The ADL is an anti-Black organization, period. And they're trying to make it seem like they are friends when they are one of our enemies in the way they operate. So I want to put that point there. We're working with the German government because the German Amazon system has H2N, has a documentary in there. And they said in the documentary, they deny the Holocaust, which I don't think that's true. And I'm going to watch it again, but I didn't see that. But they said they deny the Holocaust in there. And so they said denying the Holocaust in Germany is against the law. So he said, we're working with the German government to get the film taken down. You are that pressed about a film, that pressed about a film, that you're working with the very government that was a part of the very genocide that you put on the whole world to give you sympathy for. You're willing to work with them to take down a documentary when you are not telling Amazon to take down Adolf Hitler's book called Mein Kampf, his diary. That's on Amazon. Tons of books about the KKK and Adolf Hitler and different notes. Tons of memorabilia from the Nazis are on Amazon, but you're going to tell them to take down a documentary when it's like, okay, so every documentary that you don't like, we're going to have to take it down now just because you don't like it. See, it's this sick slave master mentality, brother, that they have, that even their own white cousins is like, yeah, we ain't hearing you. We making bank over here. So you can go get mad over there, but we making money over here. So they're not even agreeing now. Now it's like, so they're embarrassing themselves because they're trying to prove that, no, we're not racist. We didn't just come at Kyrie. We're going to go at, Amazon. No, you're not. You're not going to shut down Amazon. Jeff Bezos ain't budging, and your own Jewish CEO of Amazon ain't budging. It's not happening. But they're going to try to put up images to make it seem as though, oh, we are equal. No, you are for the protection of the Jewish community. We have no problem with that. We need to have the protection of our community the same way the ADL does for theirs.
Wow.
No, that was a lot, brother.
Yeah. Family, listen. This has definitely been one of those epic happy talks. Saturday, February 4th, 2023 in New York City. Glad to bring the brother back on the other side of the country here in New York with us.
Yes,
we're going to have an epic night. This is just a small snippet of what's going to be in the building that night. If you can't make it, if you're in California, get the live stream. You got to be a part of this. This whole thing just came about just in cooperation and working together. The brother, another Californian, your brother Amadeuz Christ, who produced people want to see a documentary, go check out Out of Darkness, Heavy is the Crown. That's what y'all go check out. Check out that documentary by the brother Amadeuz Christ. He and I just got started talking, and we figured we would work together. And this was the foundation for us, Black people, colluding and working together with one another. We don't have to be in competition. HAPI doesn't have to compete with that. I don't have to compete with him. We can work together to curate an experience for Black people. Thus, this event was born. So when we talk about just really working together, we want to be an example of what the hell that looks like, for our people. We got to be fighting. Malcolm said it. We got to get together. We got to figure out ways to work with one another. So we brought together, a dream team of people to make this work. It is not just going to be a lecture series. We have the entertainment piece, the consciousness in terms of, Brand Nubian, Jamal Milton, some powerful Black poets, African dancers, drummers, all these different things to curate an entire experience for the day. Family, take a minute, happyfilm.com, get your tickets. This is very important. It's essential to what it is that we're doing, to be in action examples of what it is that we need to do in this community. Brother Rizzo, you got any last thoughts?
Oh man, I'm just excited always to have a conversation, a build with my brother. Always good energy, and it's always a time for us to educate, elevate, inspire, and God willing, provide solutions to our people, because that's really what this is about, is to bring us closer to who we are, to build, to collaborate. That's what we have to do.
Solutions.
That's it, bro. You know it, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah, we can't just constantly keep talking about what's wrong. We got to create solutions. To create. We got to be who we're looking for.
Absolutely.
If something's missing, listen, make it, create it, be a part of it. Just do it. Do something. Get it up, pick it up, do something, make the difference. And that's what this is about, making the difference, you
Absolutely.
know? So, you know what, brother?
Make sure y'all support the HAPI program, everything that they do, the film. If you haven't seen the film, please go see the film. Okay, that's the first thing you want to do. Is go and watch the film. It is a dope film. Make sure your mind is ready, because you're going to learn a lot from some of our greatest scholars. You know, these are the ones that I look up to. These are my celebrities, just so y'all know. My celebrities are not the ones all up in Hollywood and everything. I love our people. Don't get me wrong. It's just the ones that, you know, carry the intellect, that, you know, work their whole lives to become the walking book and library to pass that knowledge on to us. Those are the ones that I consider our celebrities, or at least mine personally. And these are the ones that have helped to collaborate, be a part of this. My brother Taaqiy, he's helped to assemble some of the greatest that we've ever had. So please make sure y'all support everything that they're doing. And I will be in New York. Y'all know what happens when I pull up in NY, man. Y'all come from every borough. It's crazy. So,
yes. Got to be in the building. All right, brother. So you can't just hang out backstage for a minute. I'm going to close out the show and I'll be right there.
Absolutely. Peace, family.
All right. So family, peace. Thank you, everyone, for your love offerings. Definitely use the Cash App, the super chats that came through tonight. Shout out to all those people who showed love in that way, people who shared the video, who liked it, who gave a comment on it. We got to keep moving forward. If you are not subscribed to the newsletter, please take this opportunity to do so. HAPIFilm.com. There's so much good information in there. Information about this upcoming pilgrimage to Kemet. You know, we go on these, we don't do trips. You know, our journeys to the Nile, to the Happy Itiru or the Happy Valley is more than just a trip. We have these enriching experiences that, you know, for me, it was always important to, you know, connect the dots, to make it real for us. And this is why we do this. We go on these journeys so we can connect the dots, connect our past to our present, what helps us in our future. It's also, again, Happy Day of Black Excellence, HAPIFilm.com. Get your tickets now. We have maybe a few spaces for vendors. I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but go check that out. General admission, VIP, also for the live stream as well. So no matter where you are, what you're doing, you can be a part of this. I highly encourage that you do. This is something that's been in the making for some time, and it's going to be a very powerful experience. So definitely, you know, some time away. And again, you know how we are. Black folks, we're going to wait. CPT, we're going to wait a little bit longer. Come February, may not be any spots left for you. So take this opportunity to go take advantage of this right now. And for those people interested in traveling to Kemet, it's aketours.com. They can go on the website right now and register for the upcoming upcoming pilgrimage in May. So definitely looking forward to that. And also, those people who are new to the channel, people just coming to visit for the night, because the brother Rizzo was there, just make sure you subscribe, hit that notification button on all the platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, but especially help us in this YouTube push for 30K. And with that being said, I want to say good night. Thank you for joining us, and be tuned for the next show. Peace.
I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority. Honestly,
who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?